What's up, duelists? Today was day one, the first RBET of RBET LA. It is a back-to-back weekend, so we gotta pump out these deck lists real quick. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get you guys the top 16 for today because tomorrow there's a whole new top 16. The meta is gonna change overnight. Oh my gosh, people aren't even ready for this. People are gonna be watching this, and then day two is gonna start. That's how it's gonna happen. By the way, insane tournament. Easily the best Edison tournament of all time so far, and it's only half done. There's still a whole other RBET tomorrow. If you haven't already watched the stream VOD, make sure and do that. Some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever seen played on that VOD. Straight up, hands down, 8 rounds, perfection. The finals, beautiful, beautiful game. Oscar versus, I believe, Noah, in the finals. Oh my gosh, what a match. Diva Hero final. Oh, spoiler alert. Let's get into things. 16th place, we've got Kirkwood Vangeli here with Jinzo OTK. Looks very similar to my own Jinzo OTK list. Only 2 or 3 cards different. He's playing some really, really cool techs. He's playing Megamorph over Mind Control, which I usually play Mind Control in the slot. He's playing 2 Krebins instead of 3 with Cyber Valley in that spot. I actually really like this choice because Cyber Valley is not only another light for Chaos Sorcerer, but it is a machine for Machina Fortress, so it gives you extra machines for your Overload Fusion or for your Machina Fortresses, making it all the way to top 16, earning that incredible prizing, those incredible gifts from Yggdrasil, and then the sideboard just going crazy with it. A bunch of different ways to force through the OTK. Doom Caliber Knight, DD Crow, great interactive pieces. Caius, obviously a great way to push through the OTK. Spirit Reaper and Plague can help you get a very fast Jinzo going. Foolish Plague coming in at the same time. Same thing with Reasoning. Reasoning can help you get to a really fast Jinzo. Either it does hit the Jinzo itself, or it gives you tribute fodder for your Jinzo, which is usually as much as you can ask for. So I'm assuming he sides this in alongside the Caius. Really cool choice. Side decking the return for like opposing DD Crows, that sort of thing. And yeah, just going all in on this. Really, really sick choice, and it paid off really well for him. Shout out Kirkwood for taking one of my favorite decks, if not my favorite deck, all the way to a top 16 finish. Going to be one of the first placements for Jinzo in RBET ever. So shout out to Kirkwood. Incredible stuff. Very, very happy to see this deck. It brings a tear to my eye. Seriously, if I could cry. All right, moving on to 15th place, we got Blackwings from Richard, which I do believe was a 41 card list. Yes. Very interesting Blackwing list. He's got some cool tech choices. 1 Dark Eruption. Deciding to go up to 41 for the 1 Dark Eruption. Interesting choice. I don't know if I agree with that, but a lot of people like this card. I think it's decent. I think it's cool, but I don't know if I would play 41 for that. I'd probably cut a card for it, you know? I feel like there's something here you can cut, but maybe he just liked his deck, and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to run it. And it worked out well. He made it to 15th place. The side deck is also really cool. I like triple Fossil Dyna, especially into this meta. There's a lot of combo decks. You'll notice none of them made it to top 16. None of the combo decks. So all of them were like hated the fuck out. But yeah, triple Fossil Dyna, triple Rug. Just keep it simple. Just saying, okay, I want to draw my Fossil Dyna against the combo decks. Fair enough. Honestly based. He's got 3 D prisons to protect it. Makes a lot of sense. 2 Book of Moons also to protect his triple Fossil Dyna. I really like the choices here from Richard. Congrats on 15th place. Got to move on to the next. There's just too many banger deck lists, and I eventually do have to sleep. 14th place is Robert with Rescue Cat Synchro. Now this list, oh my gosh, when I was inputting it, I was like, wait, this list is fire. Okay, so first off, first thing you'll notice is this is a Rescue Cat Synchro deck, right? Okay, makes sense, right? Normally, oh, Summoner Monk, Cold Wave. No, none of that. Actually, 0. 0 Trunade, 0 Monk, 0 Cold Wave. Just Rescue Cat. Just Rescue Cat. Decided that Monk wasn't consistent enough for him. That the Monk power play wasn't good enough. And pitching a spell doesn't feel good. Honestly, based. Honestly, kind of cooking here. Especially when you look at his normal summons. Triple Spy. Triple Hamster. In this deck, Hamster can get you Arabellum or Raikou, so it has plenty of good targets. Double Cyber Dragon, triple Caius. So he's just saying, I'm going to Hamster Caius you, I'm going to bounce your monster, and I'm going to hit you with Arabellum, and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. And then eventually I'm going to drop Dad, and that's it. And then 1 Card Trooper, because Card Trooper is insane. Card Trooper definitely insane in this tournament. You'll see it in a bunch of different matches on the stream. There was a crazy Card Trooper play in the finals. Don't miss it. It was actually nuts. I'll go into it more into detail later, but of course, don't want to miss that. Definitely go check out the finals replay. And then the trap lineup is super, super interesting. No Solemn, double Starlight Road to stop Bottomless Trap Hole on the cat play, and to just stop like overcommitting like Spy plus Descendant into Torrential, that sort of thing, and to protect multiple back row set. Really, really smart. Helps you against Icarus attack. And then one Transmigration Prophecy main deck. This card can give you a lot of utility in this deck. It can shuffle back your dad. It can shuffle back your Avarices, so you have 4 Avarices throughout the pace of a game. It can interact with your opponent's graveyard, so it's kind of like a main deck Crow in that case. And it can also put back cat targets if you need to reload your cat. So really, really cool. Or hamster targets. And I know a lot of people were talking about how Raikou is kind of the Garnet. Like, Raikou is not what you want to draw. Like, you just want to draw hamster and then Caius, right? And then, while I don't personally agree with that 100%, it is kind of interesting that he's decided to slim on Raikous, play the card that shuffles him back, and then still max out the copy of hamster. So I think this is really interesting. Also, like, you can like draw Descendant, let it die, shuffle it back, and then bring it out with Spy again, blow up more stuff. Just a lot of cool use with this card. The side deck has got some bangers. Double Tuner Scheme. This is to steal Synchro Monsters. Keep it simple. Take an Armed Wing. Take a Bryonic. Take a Stardust Dragon. Who knows? Just take it. Just take it. Double Dino. Once again, no combos. Triple Mask of Restrict. No combos. No Frogs. No Gigaplant. None of that. And triple Sirocco for the Bird matchup. Really, really cool deck list from Robert. I really like this take on Rescue Cat Synchro. I think this is a cool blueprint for a lot of people maybe trying out this archetype, because I do think triple compulsory plus Airbellum is gasoline. That's actually so fire. This deck is sick. I'm looking forward to playing this deck myself, but we got to move on. We got, I don't know, 13 other deck lists to get through. Johnny, 13th place, Blackwings. Keeping it simple, few tech cards here and there, one compulsory, double Jar of Greed, Dust Tornado in the main. I actually really like Dust Tornado in the main of Blackwings. I think it's good. I think it's just a good tech card. I think it's like above and beyond strong, especially if you expect a lot of Raikou decks and a lot of Mark of the Rose style shit, or chainables. Just hit it in the end phase so they can't chain it. Really nice. Sideboard, 2 of everything you could possibly ask for, and another deck dev. So pretty straightforward stuff. We've seen Blackwings a million times before. We're going to see it 1 or 2 more times in this top 16, but one more interesting thing is he did go down to 1 Armor Master to fit both Mistworm and Thought Ruler. I've been contemplating this for a while because I do like playing Blackwings, and I play it off camera a lot because I know you guys don't like watching it, even though I think it's very entertaining. I think that you could get away with 1 Armor Master and Blackwings. I don't think you need the second one, but maybe someone else can comment on this who's played Blackwings equally as much as I have or more. All right, moving on. Oscar Zelaya, Vayu Turbo. A lot of interesting stuff here. Going up to triple Greffer. I really agree with this choice. I think Dark Greffer is the best card in the deck. I think a lot of people disagree with this. I don't know why. I just straight up think that this is the best card in the deck, especially when it's drawn in tandem with like other monsters, and you're playing 25 monsters plus Rhoda with upstarts. So it's like, it's kind of just the best card. People are like, oh, this card's not good when you play it because sometimes you don't draw Plague or Necro or Sirocco or Vayu. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but like most of the time you're going to draw those cards. Like, and you're going to want a Greffer because you don't want to have a hand full of like 6 Vayu Necro Gardener guys with no way to convert them. So, I don't know. I also think that like in a combo format, like you just need access to your deck devs as early as possible. Really like this, and I really like triple upstart. Just see your power cards straight up. See your dad, see your burial, see your Greffer. Keep it simple. 40 cards. I really hate when people play more than 40 cards. I don't know why. There's no reason I hate it, but I do. I'm a hater. I'm a day one hater. He cut Solemn, which is crazy. I know a lot of people don't like Solemn in this deck, though, so he's not the only one to do that. But really cool looking deck list here from Oscar Z. I really do like it. I like the sideboard, too. I like siding the Space Typhoon. That actually makes a lot of sense. In a deck with a ton of Raikous, like, why the fuck do you need a Space Typhoon? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, Space Typhoon's a great card, don't get me wrong, but, like, you have, like, 85 Raikous. You have, like, fucking 63 Raikous. Why do you need 800 more superfluous spell removal effects? You don't need that. Just draw into your power cards. Just sack people. That's what this deck is supposed to do, right? No, I like this. I like this list from Oscar a lot. Congratulations to Oscar. Good shit. 12th place. Solid. Moving on. 11th place. Christopher. What the fuck? I couldn't type the whole name out because it's dueling book. Let me just double check the name to make sure I'm not being an asshole. Oh, this was the one where you like ran out of ink when you print your deck list? God, this makes me so mad. This one was hard to fucking input. God damn it, Christopher. Christopher Munoz. Munez? I can't tell because your printer ran out of ink. Anyway, sick deck list. Machina Hamster. This deck, people call it Machina control. I completely disagree with that take. I do not think this is a control deck. This is an aggro deck. This is bread and butter aggro deck. Summon Gear Frame, Search Fortress, pop the back row, attack for game. That's it. Keep it simple. If it doesn't work, shuffle it back, try it again. That's kind of, yeah, this is textbook aggro gameplay. So yeah, Hamster, Machina, initially invented by Times2, who was actually in attendance in this tournament, so pretty interesting to see his own creation overtake him and go to 11th place. Am I forgetting something? Is this Times2? I don't even know. I feel like I should know his name. I feel like I have brain fog because I spent the whole day commentating. I'm sorry if this is you Times2. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. But I'm not editing that shit out. You know what? I'm not editing that shit out at all. But yeah, double Machina Force, double Caius, double Crow in the main. Makes sense. A lot of combo decks. Karma Cut, busted card. You're going to see it a lot in this top 16. You're going to see it a lot in general. Like I said, I predicted it in the Edison format predictions video. I think it's the year of Karma Cut. I think this card's fucking insane. This card's ridiculous. If your deck can support it, it's really, really good. This card, Threatening Roar, Compulsory, 3 really, really good cards for this year. Sideboard, makes sense. Just a lot of stuff. No, I'm just kidding. My Body's a Schultz interesting. I saw a lot of people playing it as a one-of. I don't like this card. I think this card's ass, but people really like it. I don't know. I really don't like this card. I feel like it doesn't interact in, like, with the right stuff. But yeah, sure, you stop Mirror Force, like, fine. But, like, if this card is only ever stopping Mirror Force, Torrential, like, why not just play Road? I don't really get it. I guess it lets you play second into Icarus attack. That's fine, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's fine. It lets you play into Bottomless. All right. It's fine. It's decent. I'll even give you decent. It's 11th place decent. I'll give you that. Double Consecrated makes sense. Defend it with the My Body's Shield. Okay, it's making more sense now. It's making more sense. You've talked me into it. You, the viewer, you've talked me into it. This side deck, extra deck, I'm going to keep it real with you. I just copied an extra deck. I hope it's the same. Like I said, his printer ran out of ink, and it was kind of a bitch on the eyes to input this, but the main and the side are correct. I don't know about the extra. Tempest Magician makes sense, though. Plague plus Lila for game. Yeah, rest of the stuff, straightforward. Snowman Eater, just solid Yu-Gi-Oh! Simple clap stuff, you know? Just go +1, go +1 again, go +1 again, go Machina Fortress attack. These types of decks, I feel like, should play limiter removal. That's just my opinion. That's just my uneducated opinion. I've played these decks a bunch before, and every time I'm just like, man, if I had limiter removal, I could actually close out games. Shit, that's just my opinion. Let's get to 10th place. Shout out to Christopher for crushing it and making it to 11th place with Machina Hamster. This deck's cool. Very, very cool deck. 10th place, brand new deck. You've never seen this before. You've never seen anything like this before. This is Jacob No Fun Fonseca's Plant Aggro deck. Who would have thought that this would top over Gigaplant? Nobody, because he invented it this morning. He literally put this deck together this morning. He played 0 games with it, showed up to the tournament, crushed everybody, and got 10th place. Almost everybody, I should say. He lost to, well, I'll tell you what he lost to later on, but it is not a conventional deck that he lost to. And I will say, that is a deck he has lost to twice. Okay, I'll just tell you, he lost to Spellcasters. In the fight for top 8, he lost to Spellcasters. And it's the second time he lost to Spellcasters from the same player. I drove all the way out to California to play in a 3v3, and Jacob was on my team, and he lost to Spellcasters during the 3v3. I was like, how the fuck did you lose that deck? And he's like, I don't know, he just beat me. And then it happened again today. But this deck is gas, dude. This deck is fire. It's like Amaryllis without the bricking. You know what I'm saying? Instead of discarding Titanial to trade in and drawing into more Titanials and Amaryllis and like hidden armories and shit, you just discard it to Karma Cut, banish their best card, and then bring it out and say, I'm winning the game. And that's it. I know a lot more about this deck because I know a lot about Jacob as a player, but he loves Phoenix Wing Windblast, and he loves Titanial. They're like his favorite cards. And this is the most Edison format deck list of all time because it's like literally just, he's like, I wanted to play my favorite card. And the best way to spam my favorite card was this random jank deck that I built. And I showed up, and I did insanely well at the tournament, and I got the prizing. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's the most Edison format thing of all time, and it's beautiful. It just speaks to how pure and how perfect this format is that you can just play the cards you like and just force them, and it'll probably get you a decent result, if not a good result. Like I would consider this an outright good result. This was one of the most stacked tournaments of all time. And making it to 10th place, with a deck you built the morning of that you had zero practice with, and played on stream, by the way. You should see his match on stream versus Value Turbo. His Value Turbo opponent resolves deck dev, resolves dad, resolves oppression, resolves everything, resolves hamster, resolves Caius. Doesn't deal a single life point to him. It was one of the most impressive games of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, hands down. I legit think it might be one of the best matches of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever seen. And I've seen thousands. Straight up. Definitely go watch that in the stream. I think it's like round 4 or round 5 or something like that. I was just sitting there in disbelief, like half. I was just like, how did he do that? Like, it was really, really good. Like, turn 1, he like creature swaps a Debris Dragon to his opponent, and then his opponent just has a bunch of Raikos, and he can't synchro with the Debris Dragon because he doesn't extra deck Iron Chain, obviously. And then he's just able to take over the game. It was just such a fucking crazy game. But I just love this deck. I love this deck for a lot of reasons. Number 1, no blind milling. No gambling. Just straight up consistency, right? Targeted milling only. Gravity Rose. Foolish Burial. Targeted milling only. Discards. You're choosing what goes into the graveyard. You're not just randomly throwing stuff in the grave. Love that. Number 2, I love triple Botanical Lion. I don't know why, but this card is crazy. But it gets crazier the more you have. Like, you summon 1900, 2000 is pretty good. Can't be brain controlled. That's pretty good. You summon 2, they start scaling. All of a sudden, they're 2200 each. You Foolish a Dandy. All of a sudden, they're 2800 each. Like, what? Why? It's not adding up. And then, you can just bring them back. Miracle Fertilizer. Oh, it dies? Just bring it back. And then, you can reveal it to Gravity Rose. Obviously, Gravity Rose, if it survives a turn, it lets you Foolish cards. And in this deck, there's a lot of cool things to Foolish here. You can Foolish Dandelion, and that's it. No, I'm just kidding. You can Foolish Dandelion or Lone Fire to set up your Miracle Fertilizer or your Lord Poisons. A lot of ways to revive stuff. Lord Poison with the Titanials is obviously very strong. Lets you crash and then special summon Titanial. Like, that's just fucking ridiculous. And then, yeah, just like a lot of power cards. Creature Swap, Lightning Vortex, Mirror Force, a bunch of discard traps, a couple trap stones, make sure the plays go through. No, like, weak cards like Space Typhoon, a little bit low T cards like Space Typhoon in the main deck. Just going for the sweepers plus the haymakers. Oh, who could have predicted that? Could have been me. Perhaps. But yes. Sweepers plus haymakers, and then just power plays like Caius, which is obviously one of the best cards in the format, if not the best card in the format. And yeah, really, really solid stuff. One thing that I do know about Jacob is he hates the card Torrential Tribute because he hates destroying his own Titanial. Maybe he was onto something. Deck is cooking. It's actually cooking. I think this style of deck is very underexplored. I think Miracle Fertilizer is a very busted card. I think Titanial is the best boss monster in Edison format. I might make a video on that coming up soon. I think it's just too powerful and too easy to summon. And that's it. I think this deck is really, really close to something real. Something very, very real. If it not, already is real. Really, really cool stuff from Jacob. And it was cool watching him dismantle somebody on stream. I mean, this is always hype. All right, moving on to 9th place. Zyprin, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm so sorry, but really sweet deck. You got Nobleman of Crossout in the main. Compulsory plus Road in the main. No Legacy Jar of Greed bullshit. Just get that shit out of here. All the tech cards. And then side deck, all the tech cards. You got one of Chalice, one of Kaiku, one of DD Warrior Lady, one of Lightning Vortex, one of Deck Dev, one of Skill Drain, one of Oppression. Is that accurate? That might be accurate. There's a ton of tech cards. One Raiko, one Dino, one Crow. Just said, fuck it. I just want a bunch of random one-ofs. Opponent will never be ready for any of it. I love this energy. Not quite making it to top 8. Very, very close, but not quite making it. Needed maybe one more win there to make it into top 8. So, very, very close to making it to top 8. Let's go ahead and hop into that. Shout out to Zyprin. Blackwings, awesome deck. I love it. I love playing against it. I love playing with it. I love watching it. Great stuff. 8th place, we've got Roy. Top 8. First top 8. There were 7 different decks in top 8, I believe. The first one's going to be Value Turbo. So there's Value Turbo. And this guy, Roy, was on double Deck Dev in the main, no Oppression in the main. I don't know. I guess that just works. I don't know. I think that these types of lists with like the 2 Greffer and 2 Deck Dev, I'm like, I don't know how they get Deck Dev live consistently enough. I feel like, I don't know how they do it. I feel like you'd want the 3rd Greffer just to make sure your Deck Dev is live more. But, hey, it worked out really well for Roy. He made it all the way to top 8. I'm sure the percentages are marginal. You can always sack a Gores or a Caius or a Dad to the deck dev, and that should do work for you. Sideboard's got all the stuff you could possibly want. The third Grever, there it is. For the matchups you really need it. Maybe he did have it. He just needed to bring it in when he really needed to resolve that deck dev. I've seen more and more people siding the third Grever. Just fucking main it, man. Just put it in the main. What are you siding it? What are you siding it for, bro? What are you siding it for? Anyway, yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. Siding the Solemn, siding the Road, interesting. Solemn's probably just for combo decks. Comes in against those. Makes sense. Really cool deck. Kappa. No, I'm just kidding. Moving on. 7th place. The deck list everybody wants to see. Horn of fucking Heaven Gadgets. Eugene is a Chad. I'll just say it. Eugene is a Chad. I saw him. He was wearing a NASA hat, which already is hard as fuck. Because, the guy did rocket science, rocket surgery, Kappa, to build a deck like this. This is a satanic looking deck. Holy shit. It looks great, honestly. Like, not only on paper, but in practice. Just having 3 full stop negate the summons is very, very strong. And sacrificing a Gadget, like, who cares? You're going to summon another Gadget next turn, and, it's fine. Like, you're not really losing much, if anything at all. But you're full negating a summon? That's really good. And it's just any summon. Synchro Summon, Darkarm Dragon, Judgment Dragon, Blackwing Monster, bypassing Icarus because it's spell speed 3, Flip Summon, Rykos, anything like that, Hamsters, Gravekeeper Spy, just full stop, everything, none of that. I love it. Crazy cool tech. Never would have thought of it myself. Clearly a top 8 level tech. Clearly. Really, really cool tech here. Machina Gadget's one of those decks that, it tops here and there, randomly. It'll get a top 16 or whatever. But getting a top 8, you need to have a tech like Horn of Heaven to, take it over the top. And I think that really worked out well for him. Same thing with Karma Cut. Like I said, I think Karma Cut's just, an insane card. You'll notice very, very low amount of frogs in this top 16, and I do think Karma Cut plays a big role. When more and more of the field are playing actual sideboard cards versus frogs, actual cards like Karma Cut in the main, frog decks just shouldn't exist. And I got so many comments this week that are like, oh, what do you think about that frog combo deck? What do you think about the frog combo deck? I'm like, that deck's existed for a year. It does well at a European event. That's cool, that's good for those guys. Congratulations, a very hard deck to pilot, and they have to pilot it through a lot of hate. Do I think the deck is incredibly powerful or anything like that? I don't know. I feel like the hate for the deck is a little bit too strong. I feel like it can get hated out just a little bit too easily. So I think that, a lot of people have asked me, especially today and yesterday leading up, do I think Gigavice is more real than Frogs? And I think it is. There were a bunch of Gigavice players at 6-2 at this event. And there were a bunch of Frog players at 6-2 at this event that just didn't quite make it into Top Cut. So I think both decks are legit. I think if I was going to sleeve one up and take it to a tournament, I'd probably take Gigavice, just because I think Gigavice is a little bit more powerful. And I think you want to err on the side of power when going to a tournament, because your goal is to win, right? So if you're going to win the tournament, you got to have a powerful deck. And I think it's a little bit harder to hate out Gigavice. They have some similar cards that hurt them, Mask of Restrict kind of hurts both of them. But I do think that Gigavice can play a better B game. Maybe Frogs can too. Who knows? I don't know. But I just think that Karma Cut, cards like this, cards just fucking Needle Sealing, which is in a bunch of sideboards in this top 8, top whatever. Needle Sealing is good against Gigaplant decks, but they can put up Stardust much more easily. So I think that it's these types of cards, Titanial counters Karma Cut, I'd rather be in a place where it's harder to hate my deck out if I'm going off than be in the place where it's not, if I'm going to play a combo deck. But that's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Neither deck performed at this event. Neither deck made top 16 at all. And I think that a lot of it has to do with some of these hateful cards. I do think Eugene was playing immaculately too. We watched him play against Vayu Turbo on stream, and he was playing really, really well. Even later into the rounds, I think it was round 7, we watched him play. He was playing really well. He was crushing it. Great player. And yeah, I'm excited to look forward and see more of him. His sideboard is very interesting too. A ton of 1-ups. Literally almost all 1-ups and like 2 Dust Tornadoes. Look at that. Just fucking, he said, well, fuck it. I want all of it. He was actually, I believe, Jacob Fonseca's, so the plant beatdown list you saw, lost to this deck, I think, could be wrong. And then lost to, I think he lost to this deck, and then he lost to Spellcasters, which you'll see in a second. So, like, that plant deck beat all the meta decks, and then lost to the 2 off-meta decks. Food for thought. I think that deck is very legit. Okay, yeah, great deck, really cool stuff, cool sideboard. I'd love to pick his brain on, like, how he was siding, because this is just like a bunch of different stuff. But, yeah, it worked out really well for Eugene. Shout out to him. Giga Chad. All right, moving on. 6th, Blackwings again. Noah, I believe, was in the finals, but he lost in the finals, so obviously that's tough. And when we were just doing standings, like we are doing for these events, so we can finish on time, that means you fall down to 6th, and that's just the way it goes. But yeah, really solid list. I liked the sideboard Raikou. I don't know how I feel about that. I know some people cite it to take out like Consecrated and stuff. I just feel like if I'm not summoning a Blackwing, what am I doing with my life? I have lost to it before, so I can't say it's bad. If I've lost to it, it's not bad, because that would mean I'm bad. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. I think it's interesting. I've seen it here and there. I wonder if it's like the best use of that slot. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think it makes a lot of sense in his build because he's got double value. So he's got 5 good mills. And then he could also mill like a level 4 to set up his Blizzard or whatever. So because he's got that little extra good mill sauce, I think it does make that 1-up sideboard Raikou just a little bit more juicy, a little bit more tempting. He's citing double skill drain. I do like skill drain. He's maining 1 oppression, citing the second. I do like skill drain in this deck. I think it's pretty good. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, not much else to say about this list. Congratulations to Noah. He was playing well. I loved watching his match against Oscar. I believe they played in the finals. I could be totally wrong. But definitely check out that match. It was one of the sickest matches all tournament. Very, very hype. Moving on to what everybody fucking clicked on this video for is 5th place, Majid Khan, Spellcaster, stun. Now, Majid Khan asked me, I think over a year ago, he DM'd me and he said, hey, this is what I'm playing at RBET LA. And he said it last RBET LA. And he was like, don't talk about this. Don't cover it. Don't say anything about it until I top a tournament with it. And I've mentioned it here and there, but I haven't like made a full-on video on this deck. I think this deck is legit. I actually think this deck is like good. Like outright good. Like I said, it beat my team out of a 3v3, and it got Majid Khan an X1 finish into top 8, 5th place at RBET LA 2025. And yeah, let's just talk about it. There's a lot to talk about with this deck. There's a lot to unpack. First things first is it does utilize the spell counter mechanic, but huge but, not in a way that sucks ass. There's no like spell power grasp, no Citadel of Endymion. No, there's none of that shit. It's just we're gonna use the spell counters with only good cards that use spell counters. So first off, Defender of the Magical Knight, it's pretty important to know what this card does. A lot of people won't know what this card does. If it's a normal summon, it gets a counter. That starts a chain, similar to Breaker. They both start a chain. Once per turn, if any spellcaster monster on the field will be destroyed, you can remove one spell counter from your field for each of those monsters instead. So he can protect any amount of spellcasters for any amount of spell counters from anywhere. Important to note these things. Anyway, he's a light. He's a spellcaster. Very strong. Then you've got Crusader of Endymion. When this card is Gemini summoned, once per turn, you can put spell counters on either Defender, Breaker, or Arcanite, and gain 600 attack. A lot of people don't know how this card works. They're going to start putting spell counters on a Descendant. You can't do that. You can only put spell counters on Breaker, Defender, and Arcanite in this deck. Those are the only 3 cards that you can put spell counters on. You can't put spell counters on itself. If you're copying this list, don't do that. So it's just not something you can do. The card has to have like the spell counter text or whatever. And then Breaker pops spells and traps, which is really, really good. But it does have to remove it from this card. Unlike Defender, you can't remove spell counters from any other card. That being said, you can use Crusader to power up your breaker again. Like, there'll be a turn where, like, you know, maybe you have a breaker in play, and then you'll Gemini summon your Endymion, and then you'll put the counter on breaker, and then you'll pop another back row. It's unlikely that comes up because that's 3 normal summons, but when it does come up, it's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, you're normally just playing the Crusaders and the Defenders because they're lights to work with Honest. Honest is just like a sick, nasty hand trap in this deck. Triple Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, I think this is part of the reason why this deck is so gassed, because this card's just fucking crazy, especially when you're like shutting off spell cards and trap cards all in the same turn. A lot of decks just can't deal with this card. Value Turbo and Heroes, especially Hero Frogs, just can't deal with this card. So like, it's like 2, and I'm gonna just like say it right now. I think there's no more big 3. I think we're just completely out of the big 3 meta. I think it's like, you can expect Blackwings to be a very popular deck. You can expect Value Turbo to be a popular deck. I don't think you can expect Hero Frogs to be a popular deck anymore. I think the field is really hostile to that deck. We'll get into it. There was a Hero Frog deck in this top 16, but I do think that like there's going to be way too many variations of frogs to prepare for just Hero Frogs, in my opinion. But yeah, Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer just hoses those decks. Not Blackwings, but it hoses Value Turbo. And then it also hoses like some other random decks like Lightsworn, where you just cook them. So like, ultimately, this deck is just like a huge lockout deck where you just like summon Kaiku and like defend it with Defender or like Trap Stun, lock out your opponent's spell cards. Sometimes make Arcanite to blow shit up, and then just crush your opponent that way. Gravekeeper Spy allows you to blow stuff up that gets in your way. Let's say your opponent's like trying to wall you out, but they don't want to attack into your battle traps. All right, Spy Descendant or Gale have, or make an Arcanite with your triple Psychic Commander and E-Tully. So yeah, the more I play with this deck, the more I play against this deck, the more I believe it's legit. It's definitely frustrating to play against. I'll just say it. It's a very frustrating deck to play against, because there are a lot of cards in this deck that just like can randomly break your hands, whether that's Secret Village or Oppression, or just Gravekeeper Spy against Blackwings. You know what I mean? Or like Defender the Magical Knight against like destruction effects. Like, so let's say you have a Mirror Force and your opponent has like a Defender. You're just like, I can't flip this Mirror Force ever, so I'm just gonna get poked to death by this stupid Defender. It's really annoying. It's like really, really annoying. So yeah, definitely a frustrating deck to play against. Check it out, try it out. Just remember the thing with Crusader. Sideboard, pretty straightforward. Jiu-Jitsu Master, silly guy. Triple Dyna, similar thing to the other guys, just we're not losing a combo, we're just summoning a Dyna. And then the extra deck, make sure you have all your 7s, including the Life Transfer to gain life with Commander. Life Transfer is pretty good with Oppression in play, I've found also. Sometimes you go for that, and then you can give yourself extra Oppression activations, which is pretty cool. Also, Psychic Commander, just a good card. It's like a 3-star that gets under bottomless and is a 1900, functional 1900. It can attack over Hamster, it can attack over Shura, and it can attack over basically anything that is 1800 attack or defense. Just really solid card in general. So really hyped deck. Really like seeing Majid get to 5th place. Speaking of Hero Frogs, though, we got to talk about Fitz. Fitz is one of the strongest players like in the game, straight up. So no doubt he made it all the way to top 4 with Hero Frogs. And it's a very interesting list. It reminds me of Raunuk's very first Hero Frog deck list. It's actually so unbelievably, uncannily similar to that. I think the only difference is like Raunuk played like a 3rd Wind Blast over Legacy of Yatagarasu. It's very, very similar to Raunuk's initial deck. So kind of interesting. We're kind of like circling back with the 5 discard traps. I do like heavy discard trap counts. I think they're really good. The sideboard is interesting. He's on Nobleman of Extermination. I think the first player I saw doing this was Spice a long time ago. I think he's a European player. Strong player, and he topped a tournament. I think it was one of the early Edison tournaments with Nobleman of Extermination and Frogs. So cool tech here adapted by Fitz. It works really well against like War Chariot or against like Karma Cut or just Chain Disappearance or all the cards you hate except Mask of Restrict. But if you can get everything but Mask of Restrict for 1 card, that's pretty damn good. You can't complain about that. You really, really cannot complain about that. So yeah, solid sideboard option. Side decking the Unifrog, not maining it. Makes sense. It's kind of ass in the mirror. Extra deck, just all the things that make sense. Side decking Alias, side decking a Deep Prison, the 10 FD special, side decking Deck Dev, that's the Raunuk special. When I was playing Fairies a long time ago, and I was like playing in tournaments, and I played against Raunuk, he got so fed up with my shit, my Christia bullshit, that he just started putting Deck Dev in his Frog decks and just cooking me with it. So, yeah, that's the Raunuk, dude. If there's something that's done in a frog deck, Roundhook's done it. Like, let's just be real. But yeah, that's definitely something that he's some secret technology he's used on me. I do like the multiple malicious, whatever. I think it's solid. It just gives you like something to do with the discard traps. It lets you play even if your Treeborns get banished. It's just a solid play. It makes your 1-for-1 better too. Like Stratos 1-for-1 with malicious in deck just becomes a next level. Yeah, you can draw 2 of them, but you got 5 discard traps, so it's fine. It's totally chill. It is what it is. Shout out to Fitz, actually one of the coolest dudes in the world. Super homie. I believe he was at the very first IRL RBET. So it's cool to see him go to that, experience that, and then come to the latest one and experience this as well and see. He can say he was at the beginning. He's a day one. All right, moving on. Third place, Jamie S. Vayu Turbo. I think this is an identical deck list to the other top 8 deck lists, except for a few changes in the side. One really cool change, Threatening Roar on the side. This card's great. I think it was really, really good in the tournament. It was a great meta call. Not a lot of people who were playing it in heavy quantities made it to the top cut, but I do think it's a great card if your deck can make use of it. And I think Vayu Turbo can actually make use of it pretty well. Like, maybe your opponent, like, I don't know, you can like set up Sirocco comeback plays, or like you can defend a Gale or defend a Chaos Sorcerer or a Dad. Like, that's pretty good. There's a lot of good cards in this deck. Even defending Greffer is pretty strong. Defending Card Trooper. There's a lot of really good cards to defend in this deck with Threatening Roar, so I like it. I fuck with the vision. I really, really fuck with the vision. I wonder if you can main it. Probably not, but siding it's cool. And then I do like his, just like suite of Triple Dust Tornado, that sort of thing. But good shit. Shout out to Jamie. Congrats on making it all the way to 3rd place. Really, really difficult to do, especially in a field where like you have to face like the triple Kaiku decks and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he had to face that deck, but it's very difficult to top with like established decks, I'd say. So making it all the way to 3rd place is pretty impressive. Good stuff, Jamie. I'm proud of you, Jamie. All right, moving on. 2nd place, Jonathan Rosario. This is the one that everyone wanted to see. Gladiator Beasts, 46 card insanity. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, he made it all the way to 2nd place. Crazy deck list. A lot to unpack here. It's wild when you see the Synchro Cat deck not play Summoner Monk, but the Gladiator Beast deck play Summoner Monk. That's... what world are we living in? I don't know, but Glad's performing yet again. I do believe his record was very good. I think it was either 7-1 or 7-01, something like that. Very good record. Very impressive record. For what I would assume is a very inconsistent deck. I mean, 46 cards is like, you've like leveled up a tier in your consistency. Like, you're just not going to see certain things. Like, with only 12 Glads functionally, because you have 2 Proving Ground and 10 Glad normal summons, and one of them is Secutor, so you really only have 11 Glads. 46 cards. You're going to have a lot of games where you just don't draw a Glad. I guess Cat and Monk kind of count. So you have 13, but 13 and 46 is actually really low. I know a lot of people talk about playing 14 in like 40 to 41. So 13 and 46 is like really dangerously low, especially when you have triple Chariot that you need the Glads for, and triple Shrink that you need the Glads for, and triple Respite that you... I guess Respite kind of like works with Chariot, helps you find them. I don't hate it. I'd need to play it to fully understand it. Obviously, it worked out really well for Jonathan. Very interesting list. I do like triple Trapstone. I do like triple Wabaku. I do like Trunade and Storm. I think Trunade is just a tournament-winning card in this deck. You just need to be able to force through your cat play, like, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I do like that he's not playing Dust Shoot. I had this discussion with people the other day on the Discord. I don't play Dust Shoot in Glads. I just don't think it's, like, necessary. You really want something... Because, like, the play pattern of Glads is, like, I have a guy that needs to attack, but my guy sucks. So I need to clear my opponent's back row and clear my opponent's monsters. So it's basically every play you make needs to be a 3-piece combo until you've established like a Geyseris. So Dust Shoot doesn't contribute to that 3-piece combo because it doesn't clear a monster and it doesn't clear a back row. And you don't really need to hand rip your opponent with Glads. You just need to trap stun them and then book their guy and then attack. And then it doesn't really matter what's in their hand at that point because you can also just like lock it out with Chariot or Heraclinos or whatever. So I just feel like Dust Shoot is not the move for this deck. And clearly Jonathan felt similarly. Another really cool thing is his sideboard. He's got 2 Cyber Dragon, and this is the order he wrote it down in. So he wrote out 2 Cyber Dragon, 3 DD Crow, 2 Dust Tornado, 1 Space Typhoon, so 3 back row removal, 1 Needle Ceiling, insane card by the way, 1 Smashing Ground for Titanial, I'm assuming, triple Snowman Eater, and then at the end he was just like, fuck it, I don't want to lose to machines, double system down. Valid. Honestly, valid. Yeah, valid. Just don't lose to machines. Fuck it. It's a rough matchup. So, yeah, good shit. Good shit. Shout out Jonathan, and congrats on making it all the way to 2nd place of the first RBET of this weekend. But not quite first. Not quite first. First place is going to be Oscar. Oscar Ruano. You may know him as the Diva Hero GOAT. You may know him as the SoCal Diva Hero legend. He's topped so many tournaments. I think he's won 5 PS5s. Every time I say this stat, I add an extra PS5 just because he's won so many PS5s. He has more PS5s than he has TVs. That's all I know about Oscar is he has more PS5 because he's won so many tournaments. He's won countless tournaments. He got 2nd place RBT Moreno Valley. I think he got 2nd place in another RBT, if I'm not mistaken. He's consistently in the top 8 of every single thing I see him enter. Like, consistently. He's topped Ultimate Time Wizards. He's topped whatever. He just plays the shit out of this deck. He plays Diva Hero like crazy. He's like one of the best Diva Hero players I've ever seen. And yeah, he was undefeated in today's tournament, and so he got 1st place, which is amazing. Looking at the list, there are a couple interesting things. Only 2 Kaias. I know some people like 3. He decided to play 2. 40 cards, beautiful, thank God. No E-Call. I know some people like to play E-Call just to see Stratos more consistently. Valid. He decided to play Compulsory instead. I do like Compulsory a lot in this deck. The more you look at Compulsory in this deck, the more good it looks. Because, like, okay, what are we doing with Compulsory here? Bouncing an Armed Wing, that's obviously great. Bouncing a Stardust Dragon, that's obviously great. Even something like bouncing a Machina Fortress, fire. But let's dig a little deeper. Bouncing our own cards, what have we got here? We can bounce our own Stratos, seems strong. Bounce our own Caius, seems very strong. Bounce our own Dark Armed, Armageddon Knight, Diva even. Shit, man, sign me up. All of these things sound great. And then on top of that, you could like bounce your own Absolute Zero to build a Regeki on your opponent's turn. You could return something, then bounce it back to your hand. You could there's so much here. I'm like, not even. It helps you play through cores. So much of this deck is just like putting 4,000 points into play. Like, let's say you summon Diva, get Gilman, Future Fusion, Sam Malley, make Stardust. You have Stardust Gilman. You attack for 4K, bounce their only summon, attack for 4K again. You win. So much of that is just like, so much of this deck is just that. I love the 1 Compulsory. I do like the 1 Phoenix Wing. Similar reasons, a little bit less versatile, but can hit oppression. So he has that extra oppression out. Like I was saying earlier, I do think True Nade is a tournament-winning card, and he's got Heavy Storm, True Nade, and Space Typhoon, as well as the Phoenix Wing to help play through oppression. So 4 ways to play through that, as well as just like Caius shit, you know what I'm saying? And he navigated a bunch of games through oppression on camera very, very well. Very, very well. I go watch his matches on the stream VOD. It was really, really sick. Let's hop to his sideboard. Just the cleanest shit you've ever seen. Double Snowman, double Kaiku, double Dyna, double Soul Release, double Book, double Dust Tornado, double Pulling the Rug, 1 Compulse. So keep it super simple. Extra Compulse to help force through the Kaikus. I'm assuming Soul Release, clear the entire grave. No bullshit. Double Book. These actually helped him out a lot. There were a lot of games where he would just like make an Absolute Zero, and then he would like attack, and they'd be like, okay, D-Prison. Then he just book his guy. And it's like, okay, now your D-Prison, your Absolute Zero out is gone, and you have to play through another Regeki, and it just like puts your opponent so far behind. Like, normally people only have like 1 or 2 Absolute Zero outs to begin with, but you know the vibes. Anyway, extra deck, immaculate. Shout out to Oscar. really, really happy he was able to take home the dub. So many times he's gotten so close, and yeah, it was very deserved. He played incredibly well. He played immaculately. I don't think he made a single misplay on stream that we saw. Yeah, I don't even think he made even like an inkling of a misplay. He was playing perfectly, and he was playing a deck he was very familiar with, a deck that I think is a very solid deck, a very underrated deck. I think Diva Hero is a terrifying deck, a deck that was initially popularized by Dale Bolito, Silchus Ruin, and then later picked up by a true hero. And yeah, I think Oscar's kind of like the new stuff with Diva Hero. I think he's grinded this deck enough to know it like inside and out, and that's like where you want to be in Edison. I think that matters more than your deck choice at the end of the day. Like you see here, 7 different decks in top 8, a bunch of decks that were just people's favorite cards having success. At the end of the day, play the decks you like, and you'll do well. That's it, straight up. Know your deck inside and out. Have good game plans. Just be ready and catch your opponent off guard with some cool decks, maybe. I don't know. Good shit. I'm really, really excited for day 2 tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in to the stream and check out the stream VOD of yesterday's stream, because like I said, it was some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever played or ever seen. And yeah, it was just really, really cool. 46 minutes. Damn, we running hella ads on this bitch. You already know. Shout out to everyone who made this tournament happen. Also, I'm going to thank them again in the video again tomorrow and on stream tomorrow. But this stream would not have happened. This tournament would not have happened without like the hard work of like Totagon, SoCal Retro Yugs, Nigel, Luis, just so many people to thank. Everyone in SoCal, honestly, who helped put on this event. You know who you are. Everyone who's even contributed to an event before. Alberto, Juan Morioki, just everyone cool. Just thank you so much for all your help putting on these events, because this one's a dream come true. It's actually so sick. Selling out a hangar at the Fairplex is unreal. Like, that's just such a sick vibe. All right, we'll see you guys in tomorrow's RBET. We're doing 2 back to back, and I got to get some sleep. Peace.